Samantha's got some words about something called the Whopper. You know, the Whopper's what brought us here today. Samantha.
Thanks, Dave. I'm the co-director of Cascadia's Ecosystem Advocates. And we're here today to create an alternate reality together. To help with this, more than a year ago, we started putting together an outreach campaign to educate people about the Whopper. And we brought filmmakers together, Tim Lewis and Trip Jennings, to create a DVD with several short films about the Whopper and how the Whopper would just perpetuate bad forest management that happens in southern Oregon. This DVD also has something really important, a citizen action toolkit, which helps people take their motivation from watching the films and translate that into action against the Whopper. You can find them over there at the table, 3 tables from the front. So please go and pick one up. As the DVD explains, the history of corrupt land management goes way back in Oregon. The ONC Railroad illegally sold some land. Then the government took that land and handed it over to the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, which is the group that has put forward the Whopper. Something called the ONC Act said that the BLM must manage for a variety of uses, including sustainable timber harvesting, but the BLM has never shown that it's sustainably harvests. On the contrary, it has left scars across our landscape. The Secure Rural Schools Act came along because basically the Northwest Forest Plan, a compromise between the environmental movement and industry, decreased the rapacious logging by the BLM and others. And so the schools were losing funding. The government stepped in to sort of subsidize that. But recently that has really become threatened. I believe we have another year of the government giving funding to the counties. But the counties really need to come up with their own sustainable economic development. The Northwest Forest Plan has kept the irreplaceable last 5% of our old growth from being cut. The BLM argues that the Northwest Forest Plan has prevented it from logging at the amount that is supposed to under the ONC Act. But the Whopper is no more than a giveaway to a dying industry, dependent on development and transportation, that depends on the oil for which we wage war, and the oil that we can scarcely still afford. We need to invest in sustainable use of our land for agriculture, organic agriculture, for tourism and recreation. The BLM's Whopper, let me just give you a few details about it. It calls for a 7-fold increase in old growth clear cutting. In the first decade, 140,000 acres of older forest would be clear cut. And this is 0 trees standing. Old growth reserves for threatened wildlife would be cut by half. It dramatically would reduce the protection for streams, for water quality and salmon habitat. It would degrade water quality from clear cutting and more roads. It would threaten communities by increasing fire risk, basically replacing fire-resistant older forests with young, dense plantations that are prone to high-severity fire that the risk increases as climate change progresses. It would also harm the recreation and tourism industries, as I said, and increase the impacts of global warming, exactly the last thing that we need right now. because forests store carbon from the atmosphere, and they also stabilize our regional climate. We share some responsibility with the governor in taking action against the whopper. We need to tell the governor that he has a responsibility to defend the natural resources upon which all life in Western Oregon depends. I want you to practice with me asserting what we need to tell the governor to defend us from. Do we want the BLM to take away habitat for endangered species? No. Do we want them to poison our watersheds? Do we want them to strip away our climate security? Do we want them to increase clear cutting of old growth in public forests? Well, that's exactly what the BLM's preferred option would give us. Do we want their preferred option? No! And that's why we need to work together to take action, because we're going to lose our buffer against climate change. Forests not only sequester carbon, but they keep our land, our climate from basically disintegrating, turning into a desert. And the forests are basically our security against this. We want you to write to the governor, fax him, call him every day make a call to the governor so he gets the message. Write a letter to the editor, and you can find some information at the tables over here about exactly how to do that. If you're interested in learning more about how forest practices are related to climate change, join us this week for the West Coast Convergence for Climate Action, Monday through August 4th. So July 28th through August 4th near Coburg, just north of Eugene. This is the second annual convergence in the Northwest. It's happening 2 other locations in the U.S., also several other countries. At the convergence, you can learn about carbon cap and trade and offsetting, the state of the forest worldwide on Wednesday, forest and climate change Thursday, more about the whopper on Thursday, fire thinning, and what the threat is of liquidating our natural heritage, our natural resources, to turn them into biofuels, which is a threat. Also, a timber harvest tax on private forest practices. You can learn about that on Sunday. Check it out at www.climateconvergence.org. Stay for 1 day or the whole week. We actually have room for 7 of you to come with us back down to Eugene, and we can drop you off in Coburg at the Climate Convergence. We're leaving no later than 6 p.m. So please come talk to me. We'd love to give you a ride down there. Experience low-impact living while building community and skills to take high-impact action. This is an international phenomenon, the climate convergence. We can inspire each other globally while working together locally. Activists have been able to stop a lot of things in human history. We've been able to put an end to slavery, imperialism in India, apartheid in South Africa. So why then can we not stop something like the whopper? We have to do this in order to survive. That's basically it. So please join us. Pick up the phone, call the governor, and talk to your friends about it. Invite people over to talk about these issues and figure out a plan to take action. Our lives depend on it, and the lives of future generations.